Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on the show, Control or Be Controlled. Podcast designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest has dedicated his life to exploring one of humanity's oldest questions. How do we heal, transform, and reconnect with ourselves? Oliver Glosdick is the founder of Harmonica Retreats, a Colombia-based Ayahuasca Retreat Center, working alongside the Kamsabia indigenous tradition of the Putumayo region. I hope I got that correctly.
Absolutely, yes. Ayahuasca for the Putumayo region with the Kamsabia tribe, exactly.
Okay, so over the past 5 years, our guest today has guided hundreds of people through transformational experiences involving plant medicine ceremonies, breath work, and other healing practices. Through his work, including a research partnership with Imperial College London, he brings together traditional wisdom and modern scientific curiosity. But Oliver's message isn't about chasing extraordinary experiences. It's about what happens afterward, the integration, the identity shifts, and the daily work required to create lasting change. Today, we will explore his personal journey into plant medicine, what led him to create harmonica retreats, and what true transformation actually looks like beyond the ceremony. Oliver, welcome to Control or Be Controlled.
Thank you very much for having me on. Really looking forward to this conversation because obviously we all want to become our own deciding factor in our life, and many times we are influenced by so many things we don't even realize. So it's important to be in the driver's seat, and that's what this podcast is about. And very happy to be on this one.
Okay, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed that introduction.
Say it again. Sorry.
I hope you enjoyed that introduction.
Absolutely. No, it's like, it's crazy to hear those introductions. It's almost like, those fight scenes where like in MMA or in boxing where it's like, and now welcome. And then it's like, you hear all the accolades and it's like, I mean, it sounds great, but obviously like there's a human behind it. And I'm very happy to give a lot of value to the listeners here around these topics of plant medicines, which there's so many things online, many people talking about their experiences, but there's not a lot of retreat centers doing content marketing, going in depth about the preparation, the ceremony itself, the integration process, what change one can expect going through on this journey with plant medicine. So thank you very much for having me on and for this great intro as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So before ayahuasca became such a major part of your life, what was your life like and what were you searching for?
So I would say the word search is a very good word. For me, I finished high school. My parents sent me to a Montessori school. So I always had that part of me that followed one's intuition. But after school, I started to live the German dream, working at a big German car company. But for me, it didn't really feel like a dream. I noticed the monotone part of this life and that everybody was kind of just like chasing a carrot that was dangled in front of them. And for whatever reason, I felt that this was not my path. So I started my entrepreneurial journey. It did a lot of different things, but I have to say, in the end, with more failures than successes. But what I was always in search for is connection to myself, because in the end, I couldn't put it into words, but just going to work during the week and then on the weekend having a party or going shopping or whatever that lifestyle is that we're presented with outside of us, it just didn't feel like I want to engage in that one. So I was looking for answers. Also, I fell into a mild depression addiction as well. I was smoking weed on a daily basis for about 6 years. And I was looking to find myself again, about finding my path. And I heard that ayahuasca has helped a lot of people. So that's through a friend of a friend, I got to a place where I was able to drink some ayahuasca, which was great.
Okay, thank you so much, Oliver. So you have said many people come to ayahuasca looking for something they cannot name. What do you think people are truly searching for?
I think mostly people are looking for connection. People are looking for a connection with themselves. In a way, they're looking to overcome this level of isolation that we feel in today's life. Even though we live in major cities, people feel that they're alone. Through this isolation, there comes a level of anxiety, a level of depression, and ayahuasca can be that guide, can be a guide to reconnect with ourselves, with our internal guidance system. So I think if I would be able to put it into one word that people are looking for, it's connection, connection with themselves. And that then extends to connection with nature, connection with community, with family, reconciliate with family as well, because our relationship with our parents, with our siblings, with our close ones, they impact so many parts of our life. And many times there are a lot of shit that happened along the way. And so I would say connection with oneself, parents, relatives, one's own journey.
Okay, Olivia. So, how did your personal experience with ayahuasca lead you to creating harmonica retreats in Colombia?
Mm-hmm. So for me, I went on this journey with ayahuasca to heal myself, to find my path. And through that, I had some very powerful experiences. I was able to, something within me woke up. And also, I had some realizations that I don't want to build the rest of my life the video marketing agency I was doing at that time. But I also didn't know how that would look like. Also, at the ayahuasca retreats that I went to, I noticed the level of transformation that was possible for the other participants that came carrying lifelong trauma, something lady 50, 60 years old about things that happened in her childhood and walking timidly and just like knowing like that level of tension that she's under, and then having a weekend retreat and that level of life coming back to her. And those little stories that I witnessed, they started to inspire me. Eventually, I wanted to go to Latin America, where the ayahuasca is originally from. So I booked a retreat in Colombia. That was back in 2021. And during that retreat, I was able to forgive myself. I was able to accept myself. Through that, a lot of peace came to me as well. And I noticed that, okay, I want to go on my journey of self-discovery, and that I can basically, I like to say, if the doors open up, you might as well walk through it. And that's how the journey started. It was also 2021 in the middle of the pandemic, so I could still work remotely and have that transition period as well. So it started with my own personal healing journey with ayahuasca, being inspired with the transformations that I've seen in others, and that desire to do something impactful with my life.
Okay, thank you so much. So, for people who might not know, that they might be hearing about ayahuasca. What is ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca is a plant medicine from the Amazon region in Latin America. We like to say plant medicine because it's always been done in a ceremonial context for thousands of years. And also, if you think about it, Mother Nature gives us nutrients for our physical body. It also gives us medicines for our body if there is a sickness. And it also gives us medicine for thinking, for emotion, for our spirit. So ayahuasca is a plant medicine from the Amazon that you drink in a ceremonial context that allows you to connect with yourself in an amplified, extraordinary state of consciousness. And if you take away all the mysticism, what it is, it's an unfiltered conversation that you are having with yourself that many people can benefit from, really seeing themselves, the things that they're doing well, the things where they're messing up on. And after that ceremony, after that conversation with oneself, one is going back to one's real life, starting to implement the lessons that one has learned.
Okay, thank you so much. Because I know some people might be wondering, what is ayahuasca? What is Oliver saying? What is he saying?
Of
Okay.
course.
So, what inspired your work? Talking about Kamsabia, indigenous tradition. What inspired your work with Kamsabia? And what have you learned from their approach to healing? Also, you can break down what Kamsabia is, where it is.
Absolutely. So the Kamsabia tribe is an indigenous tribe in the south of Colombia, in the Putumayo region, from the village of Sibundoy. And what's very important is that when you are on this journey with ayahuasca, that this is not something that is new. It's something that's been here for many, many generations. And if you think about it, if you or if I or if the two of us together would go into the Amazon rainforest by ourselves, within 1 week, we might be dead. So it's important to have a guide. But if you go with somebody who knows the Amazon rainforest, who has grown up there, then you can see the amazing waterfalls, all the beauty that the Amazon has to offer. And in that sense, it's very important that on this journey of ayahuasca, that there is a guide, somebody that's been doing this for many generations, so they can guide us on this path of healing, so we don't get lost, but we have a level of direction. One of the biggest lessons that I keep on hearing is patience. And as somebody coming from Germany, you always want things to happen right now. And also with the modern society, instant gratification, we have that urge in us, or at least I, wanting things to happen as quickly as possible. But for the indigenous, they learn by also observing nature. And if you look at nature, nothing is rushed, but everything gets done in perfect harmony, exactly when it needs to. And also a tree, it doesn't grow in 3 years. It needs, in a way, also decades to grow. And certain lessons around oneself, around one's self-worth, around boundaries, around one's own inner topics that one is working on, you can obviously make huge strides in a couple of months, in a couple of years. But in a way, these processes, they are year-long processes or multiple years' time. And to have that level of patience with oneself and understanding that there's a certain level of inner maturity that needs to develop first as well. So I would say one of the key lessons that I've learned from the tribe is having that level of patience.
Okay, thank you so much, Oliver. So, running a retreat center is a major commitment. Why did you choose this path instead of simply having personal experience with plant medicine?
I think also after I received a level of healing, I wanted to be able to pass it along. I was so enthusiastic about it. I love those conversations around ayahuasca and how it could help people. And I'm not telling anybody that, when they have experiences, I even recommend them to be more private and to start implementing the lessons first. But for me, I felt that level of enthusiasm around it. So I think, and I had that within me, that if I feel that enthusiasm, that I want to follow it. And I took one step at a time. And in the beginning, I wasn't even aware of the level of responsibility that comes with it, because in the end, people come here with their hopes, with their desires, with their worries, with their fears. And then they, in a way, is even amplified in that state of drinking ayahuasca as well. So it's a very big responsibility that if I would have probably known when I got into it about what's coming my way, I might have not done it. But I just followed my own intuition and the doors that opened up. So coming to Colombia, doing a retreat here, getting to know an amazing shaman, getting to know a place where I can host the retreats, for myself having a level of experience in marketing, I felt that that things were aligning and I can just take one step at a time. And I knew that a lot of people will need this, will greatly benefit from this work. And also I wanted to do something meaningful with my life. So just selling another video didn't move my spirit, but seeing somebody go through their experience and being able to let go of their fears, work through their trauma, see life from a different perspective, that's something that enriches my own experience of life as well. So that level of being of service, and then also the personal growth that I receive as well on the more responsibility you have, the more you are forced to grow as well.
All right, Oliver. So you have worked with breathwork and other practices like ice baths. How do you these different methods connect with healing and personal growth?
So I think it's good to know that there's not one fit-all solution for everybody. For example, for myself, I'm not a big meditator. I tried to get into it more and more, but it's just not my thing. And I talk with many people and they feel the same way. If you have an overthinking mind and you close your eyes, all of a sudden, a lot of those thoughts are even amplified. But for some people, meditation is great. So with that, I think it's great to look at the different healing modalities that are out there and then pick the ones that resonate with you. So for example, for me coming from Germany, I would go into the ice cold water in the winter and I noticed that it would wake something up in me. My overthinking mind all of a sudden was forced to come into the present. And after that, I would feel alive. So I noticed, hey, this is great. How can I incorporate this in the retreat program that I'm doing? Similarly with the breathwork, I did a breathwork session with my former football coach and I had a emotional release and I was like, wow, this is possible without taking any substance, but just like being with oneself and through breath, which is available to any of us at any time. So I was like, okay, let's start incorporating that as well. So it's been on my own healing journey and different modalities that have supported me on it that we kept on adding into our repertoire and into the program of the retreats.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Oliver. So most people seek ayahuasca hoping it will fix their problems instantly. What would you say to someone looking for a quick transformation?
Give me one moment. I'm just gonna drink a sip of water. I would tell them to have some patience, with oneself, and that ayahuasca is not going to solve all of your life problems. And I know we would want that to happen, but also understanding that life doesn't work that way. Also, healing isn't linear. You might understand certain things right now, but then you're going to go back into your life and you're going to be tested on how much you actually learned that lesson. And that shows you your true progress of your own spiritual path, on your own inner maturity as well. So I would tell them to have some patience and know that things are going to develop in the divine timing as they need to. And also what I like to say about life as well and ayahuasca and the correlation is that I used to try to, interesting also about the podcast name as well, I try to control life a lot. That life has to be the way that I want it to be. And I would exert a lot of energy. And once you have employees, once you have a partner and a lot of the different things, you're going to notice, well, life isn't the way I want it to be, unfortunately. And the more energy I exert, the more tense it becomes as well. But in comparison, if I'm able to increase my emotional capacity to be okay what's happening, I can see the beauty of each moment that comes up. I can see the lesson in it. I can learn from it. I can grow from it. So I would say, instead of trying to force life to be a certain way, try to work on increasing your emotional capacity to be okay with whatever life throws at you.
All right, Oliver, thank you so much. So for someone listening right now who feels stuck, disconnected, or unsure about their next chapter, what's the first step you would recommend for them?
So the first chapter in drinking ayahuasca?
Yes, for someone who's listening right now who feels stuck, disconnected, or unsure about their next chapter, what's the first step that you would recommend?
So I would recommend them to go into silence, to go into nature, and to really sit with oneself and to understand that new chapter that is coming what are expectations that you are putting on yourself? What are expectations that other people are putting on yourself? What is that things that come from your own desires, from your own inner spirit that wants to be developed, and what comes from just wanting to conform with the expectations that other place onto me. So that's what I would first do, is to sit in silence and understand my deeper motivation for it. And then I would find a deeper motivation that is worth fighting for, because each new chapter in your life is going to bring a new challenge to you. And the question is, and you can overcome that challenge, but only if you put in the necessary work, the necessary dedication, the necessary attention to detail, that strength that is necessary to overcome whatever challenge lies in front of you. And you have that strength, but only if it is worthwhile to you. So find that why that really makes you understand it's worth for me to pursue this, to follow through, and then just go into action. I wouldn't spend too much time on planning, because in the end, it's not going to come the way you think anyway. I would try a lot of different methods and find your own niche, find your own way of doing things, and follow your own intuition and inner guidance system.
All right, Oliver, thank you so much. This has been a very, very exciting episode. Thank you for sharing the reality behind plant medicine. Not just the powerful moments, but the responsibility, integration, and commitment required for genuine transformation. For those who would like to learn more about your work, harmonica retreats, and the work you do exploring healing consciousness and human potential, how can they do that?
Absolutely. So thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. How the way they can find me is just Google Harmonica Retreat, and you're going to find us. Or our website is ayahuasca-retreat.com, and you're going to find our website as well. We have a YouTube channel talking in depth about many of these different topics, Instagram page as well. So just Google Harmonica, and you're going to find the different channels, the reviews, all those kind of things.
Right. Thank you so much once again. And thank you all for listening to Control or Be Controlled. If this conversation gave you a deeper perspective on change and personal growth, share it with someone who may need to hear it. Until next time, remember, transformation is not just about the moments that changed us. It's about how we choose to live after them. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye, guys. Thank you, Oliver, for coming to my show.